While learning about trees, we should really take a minute and learn about the parts of a tree. As we look at this really large tree here, we see this center part, which is known as the trunk. Here on the ground, going into the ground, we see the beginnings of the roots. And all around here, under the ground, are all the roots of this big tree. As we move up the trunk, we can see all of these branches coming off of the tree in all different directions. At the very top, where we have lots of branches and leaves, is known as the crown of the tree. We have lots of trees in the forest. Their crowns intermingle with each other. We call that the canopy.
One of the easiest way to identify trees is by their leaves. And in your backyard, you're going to have lots of different kinds of trees, just like us. You might have different kinds of oak trees, like we do, or different kinds of maple trees, red maple, or sugar maple. You can see the U-shaped notch. That shows you it's a sugar maple. We have sassafrass is a really neat one because it has different kinds of leaves all on the same tree. Some of them look like mittens, and some of them just look like regular leaves. We have birch trees and tulip trees. That's a neat one. Ash trees. This is one leaf. It's called a compound leaf because it has different parts. And here's our white pine. You can tell it's a white pine because each cluster has 5 needles. W-H-I-T-E. White pines have 5 needles in each little cluster. So you can pick one off the ground, or you can look at each cluster and count the needles for a white pine. And you can look at a guide. These are fun because they have the shapes of the leaves. And they have facts on the back and pictures of the trees. Or you can look on the internet, of course, and find out. Or you can get a book from the library and find out. You can do all kinds of things with leaves. You can take leaf rubbings. You can make a leaf man, or you can jump in the leaves or play in the leaves, or you can even press them with maybe an old-fashioned leaf press, or you could put them between paper and just put a heavy book on them and keep them and save them for later. Leaves are beautiful. And remember that leaves, when they have chlorophyll in them, are really hiding their true colors, the pigments that are underneath. So this leaf, this green leaf, is really hiding the other pigments underneath while it's making food. And it will show its true colors in the fall when it's ready to drop off the tree. So have fun in the fall with the leaves. It won't help you identify the tree. There's all kinds of wonderful things you can do with these leaves.
Like all plants, trees have certain things that they need in order to grow and live and be happy. One thing they need is soil. You can see that this tree is planted in the ground and it has lots of good soil filled with nutrients to help it grow strong. Trees need water. In order to help them make their food. Trees need sunlight. The sun gives them the energy they need to make their own food. And trees also need air, but they need a special kind of air called carbon dioxide. When we breathe in oxygen. And when we breathe out, we give off something called carbon dioxide, which the trees take in through their leaves. While making their food, trees make something called oxygen. And as you know, humans need oxygen to live. So isn't it, I think it's kind of neat that we make what they need and they make what we need. Trees. Very cool. So scientists that study trees split them into two groups or categories which help them identify them. The first group we usually talk about are trees that look something like this. It's the kind of trees you're used to seeing. They have big leaves, kind of like these. And these leaves turn colors this time of year in the fall. And ultimately they fall off the tree. These kinds of trees are in the group called deciduous trees. Deciduous. And every year this tree will lose all of its leaves and not be active during the winter. And next spring it'll start growing new leaves. The second group of trees looks like this tree. We call those trees evergreen trees. They get their name because, as it suggests, they stay green all year. Evergreen trees in our area have special kinds of leaves. They're called needles. Yes, these are leaves. And in the wintertime, when you look on the mountain, if you see any trees that are green, they're evergreen trees. Do evergreens ever lose any of their leaves or needles? They do. They do. They just don't lose them all at once, like the deciduous tree. If you look at this tree, it's mostly green, but we can see some brownish needles. And if you look on the ground, you can see lots of evidence that this tree has lost some of its leaves. So, deciduous, bigger, broader, turn colors, and all fall off in one season, in autumn. Evergreens stay green all year. In our area, have needle-like leaves and lose their leaves over time, but never all at once. Those are the two groups of trees.
Some trees, like this white pine, have specialized leaves. They're needles, and they're evergreen, which means they don't change in the fall. But it doesn't mean that they don't ever lose their leaves. This tree certainly loses its leaves. But these trees' leaves have a waxy coating that help it to repel snow, and they're long and thin, so the snow slides right off, which lets it keep making food even in the wintertime. But this tree loses its leaves just like any other tree when they get old or when they're not useful anymore. And when the wind blows like this, the leaves come down just like this. If you look down under the swing, you can see all the old leaves under the trees. is also a conifer, which means that it makes cones where the seeds are. And this cone is open because the seeds have fallen out. And animals like squirrels and chipmunks and birds eat the seeds and spread them around the forest. Maybe you'll see conifers in your neighborhood. Evergreens. Some are evergreens and conifers. Like the white conifer. Gardening